All right, I think it's time for a little update on the Tesladin here, because I have had a couple of new add-ons in terms of testing out different things, what I like, what I don't like, and I've come to the realization that I kind of like this setup now. It's it's really powerful, but um, I don't know if I want to say that it's more powerful than the than the Theoden, because the Theoden is kind of impressive at the moment, I would say, and I'm really liking it. As the you could say like the setup is way different. You don't have the teleport from the Enigma on your Theoden, so in terms of movement speed and going around, it's definitely a tiny bit slower, but depending on where you're going, killing the monsters might be quite a bit faster. Of course, not on players 1, but on players 8, that's where you really see a major difference in survivability and how fast it'll clear. Um, there's of course places where one shines more than the other, but at this very point, I'm kind of in love with both builds, and it's might just be some of the best melee builds in the game for PvEing or PvM. Um, I had a really fun time playing around with the Fightin as a PvP build as well, um, which is a more defensive playstyle where you don't want to attack straight up. You want to kind of lure people to try and hunt you down, and once they're doing that, that's when you basically let them get the tick damage a couple of times and then just turn on them with the charge real quick. But let's go over the gear for this build currently. Um, and I know that some of these items are not going to be easily obtainable, and it's not going to be something that's cheap by any means. But yeah, let's start out with one of the more expensive things that you can get in the game. So I wouldn't suggest doing this build at the very start of a ladder. This is more an end of ladder type build, that, or at least mid ladder, if you're not willing to spend a godly amount of high runes and foreign gold if you are on that. But yeah, so we got a last wish, and this last wish is in a faceplate, and it's a 15 ED base, so it's really close to having rolled perfect on the ED. It's 2 off, but sadly it rolled on the low end on the crushing blow. It could have been 70, and if this had been 70, I would probably have been super happy about it. I'm still really happy because it rolled fairly decent, and it's really helpful. It's giving me a couple of things that I really do like. I love the fade. It's providing some damage reduction. It's providing a ton of resistances. Plus, it's also giving you a reduction on how long the curses are active. And for this specific build, having stuff like Decryptify or Lower Resist or things that are in that area, the Fade alongside with my Mercenaries Plague really does clear this stuff up extremely fast. So that's why I'm rolling with this. And I did used to use a Grief, which my mercenary currently have. I found that swapping the Grief for the Last Wish kind of felt a little bit better, but there's still certain areas where the Grief outshines, that's for sure. But I kind of just like the Last Wish at the moment. It's super cool. Now, in terms of the armor, it's Enigma, which is pretty basic, and I highly suggest using this because the movement you get out of it is pretty awesome in terms of getting stuck in a corner and having to run or backtrack in order to get to the next spot where you're going, or doing terrace zones, being able to keep up with some of the like faster builds. Um, this is just a no-brainer basically. But you could also do other things. There's for sure other things you could do depending on what type of character you're trying to build out. But I like this a lot for this build. And of course, for a Tesladin, you will need to have the dual dreams. So I have a dream and a bone visage. Rolled fairly good. I'm not unhappy. I'm not gonna re-roll it. I'm pretty happy with where it's at the moment. And of course, we got the dream shield as well, which also rolled fairly good, perfect on the resistances, which is really what I was looking for. And of course, the faster hit recovery is also nice. And this is in a 45 base, so yeah, it's pretty decent in my opinion. I'm really happy with this one, and I think that this build is kinda at the very top for melee builds, in my opinion. There's maybe a couple of others that can somewhat hang, but this is just really nice feeling. Plus, of course we got the High Lords for some increased attack speed, a little bit of Deadly Strike, and one tall skill, which is all very useful on him. And of course we are rocking some upped gores, also extremely useful. Crushing Blow, Chains of Open Wounds, and Deadly Strike all comes in handy when you're killing Bale or killing a boss of any kind. And I did up these since I have a decent amount of strength. It didn't really matter to me if they were upped, so I might as well just have a little bit more defense as well. Since I'm really up in the monster's faces, that does help out a lot. We are rocking a decent Raven Thrust. It's not a perfect one by any means. It could have been a little bit better. But the AR I felt was very nice, so I just kept this for now. I hopefully am gonna find a 20 dex with like 240-ish AR, and then I would swap for that one instead. But besides that, this is just an overall melee character ring must-have, basically, unless you're doing something where you can't use cold damage. Then, but this is so good. And I'm currently rocking the Thunder Guards, and really this is more so for the lightning absorb and the maximum lightning res, and the 20 strength and the 20 vitality is also very nice add-on, but it's not a necessity. It's more so the lightning absorb and the maximum lightning resist that's nice, so you're not getting roasted by souls and doing bail runs and stuff like that. You are one of the few people that can walk in there, and no matter what you face, you're not gonna get killed. It's simply just outshines a lot of builds in terms of survivability. And then we are rocking this dual leech ring for now, but I definitely do have a way better ring coming once new ladder storage. I have one on ladder now that I am gonna be putting on this one that is a lot better. So we're not gonna talk too much about that. And then we're rocking this dual leech pair of crafted gloves, which are, in my opinion, very close to being super sick. They're not. They could have a little bit better stats, but 10 crushing blow and 20 increased attack speed, not going wrong there. Life and mana, also very useful, and the dual leech is also very nice. So yeah, I am super happy about these gloves. I have crafted them myself, so another reason I'm really happy about them. And of course we're rocking a CTA. Now this is a terrible CTA. It's a 244. So I will be upgrading that in the future at some point. I'm just not too pressured about it right this instant. And I got the Spirit Shield in a 44 res Acheron Rundash, and I need to kind of re-roll this a couple of times to get some more faster cast, because this is my teleport hand, in case I'm teleporting to Bale or teleporting further away from a waypoint and not just over an edge to get to the next point or the next monster. I'll be doing the teleporting port with this in my hand, so I have more faster cast. Besides that, we are currently rocking this 12 faster hit recovery with some lightning res, and we got a combat skiller, which I will probably take off of him and swap out for something else. I'm kind of working towards having an inventory of just small charms here. We got a 14 all res, and then the rest of it is basically the kind of stuff that I will be putting on him, like something like this, res and life, for instance, or maybe some hit recovery and resistance, or faster run walk resistance. These things do come in handy, and this is kind of what I would love to have a bunch of, but these are so expensive that I wasn't going to go try and trade or buy them. I'm gonna put them on him whenever I find another one like this, but these are so rare that it'll take me some time to basically find all of it. But yeah, that's just some of it for now, and I will be putting out another upgrade video once I do get to a point where I feel like now I've gotten a lot of new stuff that's worth talking about. I will be getting a better torch for him too. Wasn't too pressured about that since I've been using him for the Ubers, and when I do an Uber run, I'll usually swap out my Dream Helmet and my Dream Shield for this Ethereal Herald, and I'll put on a Crown of Ages, and then I got a spare Grief in here that I'm currently re-rolling to try and get a little bit better increased attack speed, but I'm not too pressured about it. We also got a pair of Ethereal Gores, which I usually put on when I'm doing an Uber. Depending on which Uber I'm doing, Tristram, I'll be using my Thunder Guards for sure, and if I'm not doing Tristram, I tend to put the Vedungos on for the most part. Sometimes I do forget, so that does happen. We got a Treachery for the Fate if I need it, but since I've put on the Last Wish, I really haven't had much use for this, but I kept it anyways. We do have this Lawbringer for the Mercenary, for the Decryptify, in case I want to do something where it feels a little bit more needed, but at the moment it currently just sits in my stash for now. We got a Superior Vortex that I found not too long ago, 45 all res, and of course it didn't have any ED on it, but it was 13 durability base, so that sucked really bad, but I had to make a exile in it, but I currently am kinda not liking the exile in a Vortex. I like the exile in a Chorest much better. I just feel like this is more consistent damage, whereas this does have higher damage spikes. I feel like the Chorest is just overall more consistent in putting out the same amount of damage at each hit. So I will be re-rolling this to kind of get it to a point where I feel like it's close enough to perfect to where I don't want to re-roll on it anymore. But till I hit that point, I'm gonna keep re-rolling it. We do have a spare pair of gloves in case we're in dire need of a little bit of extra resistances. We got couple of spare rings in case I need some fire absorb or poison resist. And then of course I have this life tab war dart that I used to use back in the day when I didn't have a life tab from the Last Wish or from Dracules, for instance. This is equally nice to have on your swap, so you can just instantly call out a level 6 life tap on any enemy. And since this has 105 charges, it takes it forever to kind of use, and that's why I really did like this one and kept it around. I didn't want to just throw it out. Now the mercenary, we are, as I said, currently rocking a grief on him, which is a decent one. It's not good at all in the damage area, but it's okay. It's good enough for now. This is also something I will be re-rolling on in the future. I do want to see better rolls on it. And then we have a treachery, which I think I will swap out for a chain of honor maybe, but at this very moment it's been working really nicely with the increased attack speed and the fade and the faster hit recovery, so I haven't really changed it yet. We are rocking a armed G-Phase for some extra crushing blow, for some extra deadly strike, strength, and some faster hit recovery, which all comes in handy for him. And then we got a ethereal mythical sword with a plague on the offhand, which is also something that comes in handy real nice. The lower resist curse is super nice when you're doing just regular runs, basically. Because in combined with the lower resistance from my conviction, it kind of really puts them at as low of a point as possible. I'm not rocking a lightning thunder. I don't think it's worth it, to be completely honest, since lightning is one of those resistances that's fairly easily broken in the game. That's why I really don't feel like I need it, and I have the physical damage to back up if I need that. So that's it for the gear. And if I take him to river, we'll see exactly how well he performs in here. Now I do know that this is players 1, so this is gonna look a lot better, but I do have a players 8 video coming, and that's where you're gonna see this build struggle just a little bit in comparison with other builds. When you're soloing P8, it's not the easiest in Chaos. It is a little bit tough on him compared to, for instance, like a Hammerden. A Hammerden is just overall really, really good nearly anywhere. So that's that video will show that for sure. Now, for the offhand is the offhand is basically your you could say like this is gonna be the way to go when you're teleporting, but it's also gonna be what you're using when you wanna put your holy shield on, because you're getting the extra skills from your spirit. And I do have the redemption aura, and I do have the meditation aura with 1 point in case I do have to teleport like 4, as I'm saying, as I said before. So having the little bit of faster cast really does help in these situations where you have to teleport. But yeah, as you're gonna see here on players 1, it's definitely melting everything basically, and you won't have an issue. But in the player 8 setting, this is just not as viable, I would say, as the Violin actually. And that might just be me not having done enough solo P8 with this build to feel like confident enough and know exactly how I want to move. Because on the Violin, I felt like this was really easy to control, and he was still doing really good damage. So I definitely did like that a little bit more. But yeah, as I said, this is just it's a really overall good build. Now the lower risk will interfere a little bit with the life tap from time to time. I really don't mind. I kind of like having both, you could say. It's really powerful. And if you're doing, I would say like anything up to players 5 is like super easy, and then once we pass players 5, that's when everything starts slowing down quite significantly. And I do think we are in dire need of a tiny bit of a buff here. I don't know where the buff should be exactly, because I don't think that damage is necessarily the problem, as much as it might be in it might be a little bit more towards the attack rating and like being able to hit them with my my melee part of the build. Once it's players 8, they really do not take a lot of damage. Even with grief, it's not crazy damage by any means. The mercenary certainly does help out, and the Lawbringer might be a better choice here overall, or like in the end. But as you'll see in certain situations, it feels a little underpowered compared to certain other possibilities out there. Now, if this had been a Hammerden, you would have seen me be able to basically clear these things equally as fast as we're doing now, but just on players 8. So that's where there are just other builds that will outshine this, even though it's, in my opinion, one of the absolute coolest builds that's out there. When we're talking when we are talking about melee builds, and I know that Hammerdins is not melees, of course. It's a caster build, and all casters in the game have a major advantage over the melee builds, that's for sure. Like we all know that, but I'll say that in comparison to for instance, my Whirlwind Barbarian, I think this beats the Whirlwind Barbarian by a million miles, both in speed and survivability and everything. But yeah, like overall, super great build, super nice setup. I do like this a lot. And as you will see on Diablo here, he's gonna die real fast. Oh, let the tick damage. You see that it's really, really nice. It does good damage, and it's providing like pretty easy kills. I wanna quickly take a peek at this one before we throw it. No, we'll keep the tiara for now. But yeah, that's it, man. That's it. That's everything I have for this video, and I will be getting some more upgrades for him over time. I will definitely be getting some better gear, and I will be re-rolling some of the gear once I find more high runes that I need to re-roll with. Damn, that was... Man, if that had more resistance. But yeah, as a... Wow, the gloves are kind of nice. I'm giving them for now. But yeah, as a melee build, I am very satisfied with this. And when we're looking at the stats, it's really decent. It's not, as I said, anything overly extreme, but it's just everything really works well together. I do want to get a little bit more faster hit recovery. I would like to get to around the 86%. Besides that, we're rocking like pretty much as much crushing blow as we want. We have the deadly strike we want. Open wounds, we only really need a little bit. Besides that, it's just such a tanky build. And for the skills, what I've done personally is I put my conviction to 24, since I'm not using a Sunder Charm. I'm not getting the only 1/5 efficiency. If I were using a Sunder Charm, I would probably max my conviction, just because it's only giving you 20% of what it's saying it'll give you. So since -1 50 is technically the max you can have, right? Only getting 20% of that, you might as well just max it out to get as many percent, as high of a percentage as you can. And what I did other than that is put 1 point into fanaticism just in case I want to do Ubers. I sometimes swap to this if I feel like I need it. I always have my 1 point in redemption for an easy, quick way to refill your mana and your life if needed, and 1 point into meditation. Since we're not using a inside merc, then this becomes really handy when you want to teleport to Bale, for instance. And then of course we're gonna max out the synergies for your Holy Shock aura, and then we are currently maxed out on the sacrifice, and then I have 2 points in here, but I am just gonna probably fill the rest of the points in this, at least a couple of them. But the 12% you're getting from sacrifice is more than you'll get if you put 1 point in here, so that's why I went with maxing out the sacrifice instead. And then we have the Holy Shield, of course, and I just put a couple of points enough to where I don't have to put it on constantly, and it's giving me enough defense to where I don't have to go super high on the decks in order to max out and have the max block. 1 second, let me just put this on again. If you see here, that should be at max block, yeah, 75%, and not having to put like a ton of points in here is really nice. So that's why I went that direction. But yeah, so if you do like the video, if you like what you saw, if you want to see more, please leave a like, do subscribe, and do put a comment underneath if you have suggestions for what I should upgrade or how I should upgrade it, and if you have suggestions for other things or other videos, I would love to hear your opinion. I am currently playing a little bit of GTA since I'm waiting for the next season, and they didn't put out anything new in this season, like no new rumors, nothing new to do. So I kind of am at a stale point where I'm just not really feeling like doing the grind, you could say, for no reason. And I found everything I really wanted this ladder, and I made a Hammerden, I made a Ice Boa build, I made a Whirlwind Barbarian, I made a Wind Druid, and I made a Skelly Necro, all geared out this season. So I feel like I've put a lot of effort in, and for that reason I needed a little break since there was nothing new to do. So that's why you haven't seen me be super active lately when it comes to Diablo, but as second they drop that next season, I am ready to go, and I cannot wait to be back on the grind. So I'll hope to see you out there in some of the public lobbies. If not, then hopefully we'll meet in a trade or something else. If not, then be ready for the Hammerden giveaway. Once the new ladder starts, I'll be giving away my 95 Hammerden to one of the subscribers. So keep up to date on that, and have a great day, and I'll see everybody in the next one. Thank you.